Alright, so here's our 3-bet flatting range in the cutoff. I've got my calculator ready to go, and I have a Word document that will let me write down the flop and all the combos that we need to defend as we work on random flops. So here we go. Alright, so ace 9-3 with a flush draw. So that's going to be a pretty interesting one. Alright, so the first thing that jumps out to me is this is a board texture where both players' ranges get polarized quite a bit. So, he's maybe 3-betting something like 7.5 or 8% of the time in the big blind, and he has all of his ace-king, and here we are flatting with around 8.5% of our range, and we have all of our combos of ace-king. So this is definitely a range where it hits both of our ranges really well, and I don't think his range is really that much stronger than ours here. So now this is also a flop where you could really argue whether or not you want to raise all of your ace-king. You can raise some of them, and my guess is, and you see this happen a lot more in 3-bet pots, where you're probably going to want to split the combos. So here, for example, if we raise all of our ace-king, well, all of our ace-king, since we only have 94 combos, I'm going to write that down right here, 94 combos here, and we want to defend 94 times, let's say, 0.7 if he bets a half pot bet. We want to defend 66. If we raise all 12 of our ace-king combos, that's really raising a lot. So we might want to flat with some of our ace-king and raise some of them. That seems pretty reasonable. So there is absolutely no way we're going to be able to prove whether or not raising ace-king is better or flatting with ace-king is better. As I said, I think you could pretty easily see how it makes sense to raise with some ace-king and it makes sense to flat with some of them. We can see how if we're raising them all, that's raising probably way too much. But it's not something you can really prove, so that's very confusing to a lot of people, and you kind of just have to make your best guess. So here I would say maybe we'll want to value raise something like 4, and then maybe we'll want to call with the other 8. To me, that seems about right, because if we value raise 4, we can bluff raise around 6 hand combos. I'm not going to show the math for this, but if you do raise the flop in a normal raise pot, you're allowed to bluff more than this. But in a 3-bet pot, since there's already so much money in the pot and there's little less money behind, you're probably only going to be allowed to bluff, maybe 1.5 combos, or maybe even less than that, maybe only 5 hand combos here, depending on how strong our bluffs are. You'd of course have to work out the math for this one specific spot to see, but 5 seems reasonable. Okay, so if we're raising 9 hand combos, and I'm going to just put down ace-king here, then we're going to want to be calling with 66 minus 9, 57 hand combos. Alright, so now the fun begins. We need to call with 57 hand combos, so let's go ahead and do that. So let's start with top pair. We have top pair or better with, if we're raising the 4, 38 combos. So here I'm going to just go ahead and list them all. Why not? It'll make it easier to see our range. Ace-queen is going to be 8. Sorry, ace-king is going to be 8 remaining. Ace-queen is going to be 12. Go ahead and even put a little 4 by this. Ace-jack is going to be another 12. And then ace-10 suited is going to be another 3. And then lastly, we have pocket 9s. Now, pocket 9s I would prefer to flat here because pocket 9s are just going to be outdrawn on the turn much less than ace-king. So I would rather get a value raise in with ace-king now. The pot's already so big that if the turn does come a heart, even though we're not going to be thrilled about it, if we did raise the flop with ace-king and the turn came like a 6 of hearts, we're going to keep betting, we're going to jam the turn, and we're going to get the money in because ace-king is still a strong enough hand there when we have such little money behind. Alright, so now we can add in what I think are the next strongest hands, which are probably going to be something like, pocket jacks, pocket 10s, and flush draws. So let's see, we've got 4 flush draws. Now, I'm not going to raise any flush draws on the flop here, and the reason for that is, as I already said, I don't feel too bad about getting it in with ace-king when the turn comes to 4 of hearts. I'm not worried about our range being, capped relatively low there. Ace-king's still a strong enough hand where, if we only have a pot-sized bet left on the turn, it's really not that big of a deal if our range is capped at top pair, top kicker. If he has it beat, he simply has it beat. I'm over it. There's not enough money where it's a big enough problem. If we had, 500 big blind stacks, then obviously being capped with a hand like top pair, top kicker on the turn is going to be a huge problem when the turn brings the flush. But since there's only a pot-sized bet left, it's not a big deal, I don't think. It's okay to not raise any of the flush draws. Since they do have an equity that works much better as a call, I'd prefer to just call them all.